modern foot soldier is not stopped by snow, cold, or rugged terrain. Moving, fighting, living in deep snow and extreme cold are all part of a day's work for men who know what to do and how to do it. A ski trail is broken out several hours before the advance of the main body of an infantry rifle company, now in a regimental reserve area, preparing to start out on a special 2-day combat mission into enemy territory.
What to do and how to do it. I think I've been saying that for 4 years. See, back then, men knew what to do and how to do it, which is much more important than pretending and buying crap that you'll never use. Winter is a proven conqueror. It has single-handedly defeated giant armies, brought entire cities to a standstill, and as of late, has even shut down entire states. However, it can be a great ally if you know what to do and how to do it. And what I've been showing you here are a couple sets of wooden skis. They're probably around 100 years old. I figure late 1800s, early 1900s. And this is what men have been using for thousands of years to get around. And those old wooden ones are pretty clumsy and pretty heavy compared to what they make them out of now. Specifically, these are cross-country skis. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. If you're lucky enough to live in a state or an area where you get a season of snow, I highly recommend taking up cross-country skiing. Not only is it a blast, it'll keep you in shape, and it keeps you kind of up to date with winter in general. It makes you very familiar with the winter season. Downhill skiing calls for a very different type of ski than cross-country skiing. In fact, downhill skiing did not become popular until we figured out the mechanics of getting people to the top of the mountains easily. This, on the other hand, like I said, has been around for thousands of years, mainly as a way of transportation. The heights of these skis are figured out in relationship to the weight of the skier. So you need a long ski to spread out the weight of the skier to keep them up on top of the snow and the ice. That's why cross-country skis are so long. For me, in fact, I'm a tall guy. These are about 7 feet tall. I brought out 3 different types of skis just to share some differences with you. The one on my right here is an old school ski. It's got a waxable bottom. And in the old days, you would actually tailor the ski to the type of environment or the type of snow really that you're going to be in. So depending on whether the snow is dry or wet, you'd use a certain type of wax, and you got good at picking out waxes for different type of environments, and you'd actually carry the waxes with you. So you'd use one wax to give you traction in the middle, and then you'd use a slicker wax for the top and the bottom for scooting along. Then they came out with a waxless ski. And instead of using a different kind of wax to give yourself grip when you're kicking off to cause momentum, they put in this pattern of either checks or more commonly known now as fish scales. And that would give you the ability to dig in on your kick and propel yourself forward. Like most skis today, these skis are made for a groomed trail. There's nothing wrong with that. They're just very thin, and they're meant to give you the least amount of resistance and get the most amount of speed with the least amount of effort. You know, they don't give you a lot of control if you're going off trail and going into the brush or heavy snow. Shoes for cross-country skiing are specialized. These are old school. They're 3-pin hookups, and they go into your skis and clamp down so the skis don't come off your shoes. And these aren't really made for walking around. They're not made for anything else but cross-country skiing. Now for $50 or $60 during the off-season at a used ski shop, or let's say a used sports shop around here, I can easily pick up a set of shoes and skis. So it's a pretty affordable hobby. And the great thing about cross-country skiing is it doesn't matter what your age is, you can do this. If you're 9 years old or you're 90 years old, it's a very low impact sport, and you can get out there and just do it at your own speed. In fact, if you're in poor physical condition, this is a great way to get back in shape. Lastly, I want to show you my favorite set of skis. These are backcountry cross-country skis made by Fisher. They're called backcountry because they're wider and more aggressive. They give you a little more control. Also, they have a bigger bite. I don't know if you can see it, but the pattern is much longer for braking and control on these skis. They're built specifically for going off the trails and breaking your own trails or going into the woods. The backcountry ski boots are way different too. They're basically a hiking boot. They're well insulated. They got great grips, so when you get to your destination, you don't have to switch out boots. You can walk around in these just as easily as you can any other hiking boot. They just put the latch on the front. So when you get to your camp, you can set up without switching boots. It's pretty nice. For a guy like me, this is the best of both worlds. I can still use the groom trails. I can still pick up a lot of speed, but I can use these skis for the control, break my own trails, go into the woods, pull a poke back to a hidden lake for trout fishing during the middle of winter. I love the different seasons for what they have to offer. Cross-country skiing is definitely one of my favorite things to do. I highly recommend it to you guys. I'm going to leave you with some video. I took some cameras out the other day and shot when I was at Fort Snelling State Park. People don't realize it, but it's very easy to dehydrate in cold weather. I don't think they think about it because, you know, it's cold. They don't think they're sweating. These are things that you have to monitor all the time. If you start to sweat, stop and take a layer off of clothing. That's why layered clothing, the way you figure that out, the systematic approach of putting layered clothing on is important in cold weather as well. If you start to sweat, stop a moment, take off your coat, and you know, hydrate at the same time. You know, when it comes to things that I love to do, cross-country skiing has to be right up there at the top. Maybe it's neck and neck or a little bit behind canoeing. And I love the two for many of the same reasons. It's such a quiet, peaceful way to cover a lot of ground and really soak up, you know, your environment, nature. You can lose yourself in thought out here while you're doing it. I mean, everything just kind of melts away. Both canoeing and cross-country skiing do that for me. And obviously these are seasonal things. That's one of the reasons why I love and move to this part of the country, for its 4 separate, intense seasons. This is some of my most peaceful moments.